Hello and welcome to the Reetin Entertainment Podcast episode. We are on episode 346 for April 17th, 2022. My name is Nathan Reed Spruth. Joining me this week, we have... Oh, wait, no, I was going to say Andrew Aroa McFain, but we only have Connor, the Cyberpunk Monk Besh.
Happy Easter.
That's what messed up. So Aroa's not here because his stomach is not feeling great. And I assume he just ate 4 tubs of Peeps.
I mean, it's as amazing as that sounds. That is the natural response to eating 4 tubs of Peeps.
I don't know. Eating 1 Peep is kind of like they're just so sickeningly sweet. And I don't like it.
I love Peeps, actually. I will chomp down on some Peeps. I ain't about that life. I ain't about to hear anything bad about Peeps.
I saw a video where a lady made popcorn, not in the bag, like actually pouring it into like a skillet, but also put Peeps in there, so the Peeps melted and covered the popcorn, and it looked disgusting.
Yeah, it doesn't sound great.
No.
I'm not sure why you would mix those two.
Yeah,
I mean, like,
and
some people like kettle corn, I get. I don't like kettle corn, but there's probably easier ways to do that. You could just get marshmallow flush, homie.
Yeah,
marshmallow fluff.
And then she during the video, because I don't know why I watched the whole thing. She said
You were hungry.
She said the pink one was her favorite flavor.
Do they have flavors? I never noticed that. It's just marshmallow fluff.
Yeah, they all taste the same. It's ridiculous. But yeah, it's I don't like Peeps. Not a fan. I rank them up there with like candy corn, or just things that I don't really care for around certain holidays. That's
I'm also
okay.
down with candy corn, which is fine. I'll have your Peeps and candy corn.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine with me. Anyway, let's move on. Let's talk about where we can find the Cyberpunk Monk.
You could find the Cyberpunk Monk, and you could find the Reetin at Aroa.website. Although Aroa couldn't be here with us today, he was kind enough to put all of our relevant social media links up there, including some that I think aren't very relevant anymore.
Yeah, probably not.
I think you might have your mixer up there still. I haven't been there in a while. Maybe he took it. Probably not, though.
Yeah. What about the Pinterest? Do we have our Pinterests on there?
I actually have never been on Pinterest, so
I don't.
If
either.
we do, I don't know. Well, I'm not a big social media homie.
Join Cyberpunk Monk's blogger account. Go over there.
I'm gonna make a Mastodon instance.
Wait, LiveJournal. That was the one, right? That was like in the 2000s. LiveJournal was the big one.
Blogger.
Yeah, something.
One of those links that I want to bring everybody's attention to, though, is Clinton Score Classics: Rise of the Runelords, a first edition actual play podcast. You'll like it. Check it out.
Yeah, we're how far along are we in that? Because we're done. We're done in real life.
In real life, we are done recording. We only have the editing and the posting. As far as like what I'm done with, I'm actually a little bit behind, but I will probably finish the first episode of season 6. Maybe tonight, probably tomorrow though, just because I know me.
Yeah. Well, what I mean is, what episode's going up tomorrow? Is that one, or I thought you were way ahead?
I'm like 3 months ahead. I'm starting to slump behind now, but I was at one time like 3 months ahead.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's see. While you talk about the games that you played, and then I'll talk about the games that I played afterwards.
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say where you can find me, which is I'm Reetin everywhere. You can find me obviously on Row.website, but the main one that I'm on is Twitch. You can go to twitch.tv/Reetin, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Pacific time to 9 p.m. Pacific time. I'll tell you what game I'm going to be playing through next, later in just a minute. And I also am posting all of these podcasts on YouTube now with a neat little voice activated like graph that goes up. So it's neat. It's audio visualizer. That's what it's called. And you can also find me everywhere at Reetin on like Twitter and stuff. So follow me on Twitter and give me a subscription on Twitch, and we'll be good to go. And Connor, did you find out what episode we're releasing tomorrow?
I sure did. Next week we are releasing The Vault of Greed. Reetin, you might remember this one because this was the first time that Aristotle cast Reetin. Which is to say, Aristotle has the spell. I believe it's called telekinetic push. It might be telekinetic charge or something like.
Charge.
Anyways, that's not the important part. What it does is it allows the target to be able to make a free charge attempt, and at the end of it, they get the slam. So we decided that the way that could deal the most damage is to just throw Reetin at the problem. And
Yes.
honestly, I think it worked every time.
It did. We didn't use it very much because one of my rage abilities made it so that I kind of rejected spells, which was
Yeah, but when it worked, it was pretty damn good. We usually coordinated it so it'd be like, okay, I won't rage yet, and
yeah.
something, occasionally with it. But anyways, it's a good episode. We fight Orticon, who's this big mithril jerk in the part of the Rune Forge associated with greed, the Vault of Greed.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be a really bad fight, and Reetin has some thoughts about that.
Yeah, that I mean every once in a while, like sometimes the fights were hard, but then every once in a while Clinton was like, "Yeah, this was supposed to wipe out the party, and then you just did thousands upon thousands of damage, guys." So
And then we
we
threw
won.
Reetin at the problem.
Yeah. I
To be
mean,
fair, throwing the barbarian at the problem has been the iconic solution to most of these problems since the 1980s.
that's true. That's true. But and then after we're done with this, we're gonna be doing Shadowrun. So you'll be hearing us
Yeah,
upload Shadowrun, and we'll be doing a rebrand probably.
probably.
But that's okay. Well, that's for later on. What games have you played this week?
So we're down roughly a third of our staff at work right now.
Oh no.
Nothing related to the pandemic, luckily, but it's just like when it rains, it pours kind of bad. So I haven't played that much, but what I have done is I've had my Nintendo Switch on me, and I picked up that Lego Star Wars game after it became apparent that I wasn't going to be spending too much time at home this week. I'm
Yeah.
not a big Star Wars person, but the Lego games are always a lot of fun, and what it came down to is I was in a group chat the day before. We were basically talking about how there ain't no good games anymore.
Yeah.
And we were like, okay, well, if you had to choose one game to play, which one would you choose? And like 8 of us pretty much unanimously said Star Wars, the Lego Star Wars.
Right.
And I'm really glad that we all were kind of thinking it anyways, because it actually is a pretty damn fun game. It pleases the part of me that likes that, arguably bad game mechanic in Assassin's Creed games where you explore and collect all the little doodads. But I always do it.
That I mean,
I-
I don't. I usually reject that. Because I'm like, all right, getting doodads, fuck it.
If you make a really interesting open world and you give me fun ways to explore it, I will explore all the like. Some of these puzzles are actually kind of annoying. I'm surprised they're in a kids game. For the most part, they're pretty easy though. For the longest time, I thought I was cheesing it. I picked up. I'm doing them all in order just because I have no strong nostalgia towards the series one way or another.
Yeah.
So I got Darth Maul pretty early. I was like, sweet Sith Lord. Oh, they could pick up people. Like
Yep.
normally with their Sith powers, you could just pick up droids. They could. So I'm just like, okay, well, I'm gonna cheese everything now. I thought I was being clever, and then like almost halfway through episode 2, one of the droids is like, "Oh, by the way, if you're a Sith, you can just pick people up, and it makes all the puzzle a lot easier." I was like, "Oh, god damn it, game! I thought I was being clever."
Nope. They told you how to do it.
And
I
shame on me for being, trying to cheese a children's game. But
how
it's
is
fun. I recommend it.
how is that game? Have you looked and seen how it is compared to like the PC or console ports? Because I mean, obviously the Switch is a console port, but it's going to have some limitations compared to the Xbox, even the PS4 or Xbox One.
So I could tell a difference just like I am playing at work, da da da, handheld mode. Okay, now I'm home laying in bed playing in docked mode. Oh, golly, that sure is an upgrade. Like I could tell there's a difference, but it runs so well in handheld mode that I don't really care.
Well, that's good. That's good. I
But no,
uh
to answer your question, I have not directly compared them yet. I imagine there's some upgraded. it tries to do screen space reflections and try is the right word. It gets like the lightsabers and the glowy stuff, I get, but I'm sure it looks better on PC or whatever. And I knew
Yeah.
when I was buying this on the Switch what I was getting, but I was playing it at work, like in my downtime.
Yeah. Well, and that's what matters, right? Like
Right.
that's what you got it for, so that you could do that. Like I'm gonna be bringing. I'll talk about that, but I'm gonna be bringing my handheld device with me when I go to the UK for the flight over there, and my girlfriend's gonna be using my Switch to play like Mario games on the flight over there. So that's the plan, at least. Did you play anything else? Nothing else? No Warhammer minutes?
No, I mean, I've done a bunch of painting this week. Like when I get home, I'm usually not playing video games. I'm sitting down and painting, and I'm looking at everything I've done. I've got like 6 models in front of me. That's a lot of work.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got 0 models in front of me. 0.
Why
Anyway,
don't you pick up an army? We'll play some Warhammer, buddy.
uh, I do not have the time nor dedication to put into that.
If you had to pick up an army, what army would you pick up?
I have uh, no idea. Probably orcs.
Orcs are fun. I support orcs.
Yeah. Um, but I have no idea. I've never really done Warhammer. There is a Warhammer game coming out that I think you're interested in.
There's two that I'm interested in. Dark Tide, which is Vermintide, but in 40K,
Yeah, that one.
and Space Marine 2.
I was thinking the Vermintide one.
Yeah,
'Cause-
I mean, they did it right in the worst way possible with the trailer because it was all just like trailer footage. It was like, oh, whatever, that's boring. And then the last 15 seconds is in-game footage. Like, oh wait, no, give me more, give me more.
and then they
And
and then
that's
they left.
that's how a trailer should leave you feeling.
Yeah. So, I'm gonna move on to me and the games that I played. Let me pull up my Twitch real quick because I sometimes I'll miss a game that I had playing. I'm like, oh,
You played that Fear and Loathing in the Wild West or whatever it is.
so anyway, Gundam Evolution.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
not
I
Overwatch.
not Overwatch. Very similar to Overwatch.
Very
Pretty
similar.
pretty good. I had fun with it. After I found which there's a couple Gundams that I found that I liked, but basically, if you don't know what it is, it's a first-person shooter with hero selection, but the heroes are all from the Gundam universe, and by that I mean giant mechs. So obviously, I think Connor would like that. Uh, I don't know anything about Gundam, nothing. So I just figured out which ones I was the best at, and I played those pretty exclusively. There were two that I actually did really well with, and eventually, after playing it for a few rounds, I got pretty darn good at it. I wasn't amazing, but I could hold my own against people, and it was fun. But that was just a play test. The game doesn't come out for a while. It is going to be free to play, so I don't know how that's gonna work, or if it's gonna be like I hate the game mainly because the game's not great and the players are toxic. But League of Legends, I think, does the free to play in an okay way, uh, where you can actually buy the characters you want with in-game currency. You don't actually have to pay money for them. You
Yep.
can if you want.
I,
Um,
I was almost thinking about trying League again because the biggest thing that pushed me away was the community.
and it's awful.
Incredibly toxic.
Yeah,
Awful community. But the game was okay.
yeah.
I get why people played it.
I played it. I had fun with it. And it wasn't even the community that was as much of the issue as the people I was playing with were part of that community. Like, just.
No, if you left and tried another community, it was just as bad.
Oh, okay. It was
That
just.
was not an isolated problem. Although
Yeah,
we definitely hung out with some turds in the past.
we did. We did. And I'm happy that I basically don't talk to any of them anymore, which is
We've
great.
all grown so much as people.
Yeah. But yeah, so I'm hoping it, and it looks like it's going to be like that, where you can buy cosmetic stuff. They do have loot boxes, but again, I never buy the loot boxes, and it seems like you can open them with in-game stuff, so not too worried about that. Um, So yeah, it seems that the loot boxes are all for cosmetic stuff, from what I've seen. Whereas other games, heroes and stuff are locked inside the loot boxes. So Gundam Evolution was fun. I'll see how it is when it actually releases later on this year. And then I played Weird West, and
That's
I
what
thought
it's
it was
called.
thought it was going to take longer than it did. It did not. It was about 19 hours altogether. I played Weird West, and it is a good game. I quite liked it, and I enjoyed playing it to the point where I beat it on Thursday night, I think. Thursday or Friday. Um and I played it for an hour and a half, and then I got the ending. And I won't spoil the ending for anybody, but there are multiple endings you can do. And there are questions you are asked later on that will say whether or not you get a certain type of ending.
Sometimes you
And
get the ending with the green fireworks. Sometimes you get the ending with the red fireworks.
exactly. And so I was like, okay, so I got the first ending. It's been an hour and a half. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this final area because they give you the choice. You can leave the final area and go do other things. So I leave the final area and I start doing side quests and just, causing wreaking havoc for like an hour. That was my plan, just because I
As
streamed for
one
3 hours.
does.
Yeah, I streamed for 3 hours. I was about halfway done with my stream. Figured out I'd go do some havoc, then come back right at the end of the stream and beat it with the second ending or one of the other endings that I was going to get. And I broke the game. So, because of the way that I did it, there apparently is a bug that you go into a house and you talk to a lady, and then she takes you to basically a basement, and then you finish the game. There's like no final boss or anything. You just go and you talk to these people, and then the game ends. And that lady would not move to the back door to open it. So there was no way for me to get to the ending of the game the second time.
I like that she's like, "You want to finish the game? I'm not letting you finish the game.
Yeah.
If you want to
And
finish this game, you have to get through me first."
yeah, and so I could
She was the final boss.
well, no, cuz you can't hurt her. She's
Not with that attitude, you can't hurt her.
I tried. I threw cluster dynamite at her. I threw Molotov cocktails at her. I shot her with a shotgun, and she just laughs at you.
Game respect game, you tried.
Yeah. So, I was unable to see those other endings, but I did beat the game. I would still recommend it because it is included with Game Pass, and you know how I feel about Game Pass. I feel that it is one of the best things ever.
What was the last video game that you purchased besides Battle Sisters for my birthday? Thank you again.
I have purchased WWE 2K22.
Okay, yeah, I
Yeah.
guess that was pretty recent.
Which, by the
You
way,
definitely do play a lot of Game Pass games, however.
oh man, it's so nice. And next week I'm going to beat another game because it's included with Game Pass. And that I played all except for one of the games in this series, and I don't even particularly like them. I just play them. It's the Life is Strange. True Colors
Oh,
is now included on Game Pass. So I was like,
why,
screw
why
it.
are you doing that though?
Because I'm leaving to go to the UK, and this will be another game to beat before I go to the UK. And I know that
guess.
I'll be able to beat it before I leave. I'll probably be able to beat it this upcoming week, unless something crazy happened and they made it into a real game. And then I got my Steam Deck.
Congratulations.
We have a friend who got their notification that the Steam Deck. This was Ash in my Discord. You can join the Discord. Links down below. But Ash in my Discord was like, I don't have enough money to buy the Steam Deck, and my reservation has come up. And Ash only had 2 days to make that reservation, otherwise they would not get the Steam Deck. And so my thought was, well, you can't afford it, but I can. So let me buy it, and then when my reservation comes up later this year, we'll discuss where you are in life and see if you have enough money to buy it or what's going on, and we'll get you that one sent to your house. That was the deal we made, and it is great. I've had a lot of fun with it. It plays Fallout 4 at 60 frames a second, which is pretty sweet. Like it's a
That's
better
impressive.
it's a better experience to play Fallout 4 on the handheld console than it is to play on like the PS4 Pro.
I mean, that makes sense. It's a PC.
Yeah.
That is good news, though. You said you played New Vegas as well. That's
New
once I
Vegas
eventually get mine, that's probably going to be the game that I play through first.
New Vegas also runs at 60 frames a second.
Phew.
Here's the thing though. If you put it in docked mode, because New Vegas and Fallout 4 have like a separate launcher that opens up, what'll happen is if you're not in docked mode, it'll just open that launcher and you won't be able to use the controller. You have to use the touch screen or a mouse if you plug it in. But you can just use the touch screen, go to options, change any options you want to change, and then press play. If you put it in docked mode, you can't do that.
Doesn't it think it's in like big screen mode or something like that?
So it does. So it shows the launcher pop up on the screen. And then you have to use the touch screen to press like the play button. But when you put it in docked mode, the screen on the Steam Deck goes black.
Can you not use a so like just because I sometimes mess around with my controllers like when I'm waiting for games to load up. When I use my Switch controller, I could use that for computer input, like left click, right
Yeah,
click, etc.
you can change it so that that you can do that. But with the base set, you have to go into the controller settings and set the right analog or the right what's it called, trackpad to be a mouse input. So you can do that.
Okay, yeah.
That is possible. But the way that I've noticed is that you can still use the screen on the Steam Deck as a touchpad to press play. But
Reeton just uses his touchscreen TV.
But no.
I don't think that works.
It rotates the screen to be in vertical mode. So even though when you have it not plugged in, it reacts normally. But when you dock it, the screen is rotated 45 degrees. Or 90 degrees.
45. Oh.
90 degrees. So it's
like 45
rotated,
degrees. Why?
Yeah. No, it's rotated 90 degrees, but you can't see it. So you'll put your finger on a place and it'll show the mouse cursor on the big TV, but it's like inverted from what you think it's going to be.
Why would it do that?
I don't know. It's not a huge deal. Obviously, you can get the button and press the play button and go from there. But I just thought it was really silly that it like rotated the screen for the trackpad for the Steam Deck screen. It's really hard to explain, but it's good. I tried getting WWE 2K22 to work. That is the only game I've tried so far. I know there's a lot of other ones, but this is the only one I've tried so far that won't launch. It acts like it's going to launch, and it doesn't. It does not launch. I also played Temtem just a little bit. That game runs pretty well. It runs at about 45 frames a second on like max settings. Although I lowered the settings to like medium, and I was able to get about 60 frames a second with a few drops. So it would drop to like 50 frames a second here and there. But Temtem
that right
really
there
well.
is what Pokemon has always been missing, is a bit of a portable aspect. Now you could play Pokemon on the go.
Yeah, you can.
I wonder
It's
why
amazing.
they never thought about that.
I don't know. It's not like they released like 4 Switch games at this point.
That's not fair. 2 of them are the same game.
That is true.
Okay, it's
still,
Pokemon. That's not fair. They're all the same game.
They are all the same game, yeah. But it's Temtem's pretty good, and then that's really all the games I've tried. I played some Wrestling Empire, just that really awful but somewhat fun M. Dickey's game.
Uh-huh.
And that runs at 60 frames a second. It's like fully Steam. It's fully Steam Deck compatible. It's great. Better than 2K22 at least. But I guess the other WWE games will work. So WWE 16, 18, 19, those all work. I don't know about 20, about 2K20, but if there's any games that I do own that you want me to take a look at, I can do that. But it's pretty good. Oh, Payday, by the way, apparently has fully verified. Payday 2,
You know,
fully
I
verified.
I actually own Payday on the Switch. Wait, I mean, I know that it hasn't been updated in like 6 years, but
Yeah.
back when I was still taking the train, I would heist on the train sometime.
Boy, oh yeah, yeah. I remember you would talk about that. Which you don't take the train anymore. I don't
Thank
take the
God,
I don't take the train anymore because we don't have trains in Oregon. Really.
because we're lacking mass commuter transit
Yeah.
systems.
Yeah, I wish there was even just a train in between towns in Oregon, but we don't have anything like that really. We have a bus that you can take, and for a 3-hour journey from the valley over to Central Oregon, it's a 3-hour drive or a 12-hour bus ride.
Why don't you just take like billions of dollars worth of steel and build the Reeton Railway?
I wish I could, but I doubt that I'm gonna have the opportunity to do that. But
Triple
we're
R, Reeton Railroad.
we are gonna move on and talk about some news stories. That thing we do here. Uh, I actually got this story because I thought Aro was gonna be here. As usual, he didn't show up when I have stories that are planned specifically to talk to him about. But we'll talk about this. Do you use picture in picture for YouTube?
Oh, like on my phone or in the app
Yeah.
specifically? Yeah, I've used it on my phone sometimes. Like I think I'm being cheeky when I'm doing work stuff, and I also want to listen to music. And sometimes they don't set the setting or whatever it is that tells us it's music, and it lets me do it anyways. I have a feeling that's gonna go away once they make like YouTube Red Pro Plus whatever, but maybe not according to this update coming to iOS devices.
Yeah, yeah. So there's an update coming to iOS, which are Apple devices, and I assume iPads. Oh no, wait, they have their own iPad OS, don't they? I don't know. Probably. Anyway.
Since the M1, I think it's back to
Oh, okay.
being shares.
So, they do not have it yet, but they are adding in picture-in-picture mode for Apple, like for iPhones and iPads. And basically, what that means is you don't exit out of it. You can go back to the home screen and it will still like have a little picture there, and you can browse the web or do something else while you watch YouTube as well. I use it quite often when watching YouTube videos on my phone and also wanting to search the web or text even. Texting is a big one where you don't have to close out of the app to actually send a text message, which is great. I wanted to see what Aroa's thoughts on this were, which is probably something to the effect of, "Oh my God, why hasn't this been a feature for the last 12 years?"
And to be fair, oh my God, why hasn't this been a feature for the last 12 years?
Yeah. It does say here, I have a story from Engadget. It says here at the end there was an update. It says YouTube tells Engadget the post accidentally referred to picture in picture for YouTube TV, but not regular YouTube. It's still testing picture in picture on iOS with premium members, and all US users should have access, quote, soon. So yeah, if you have an iOS device, you will soon have picture in picture on your iOS device for YouTube. Maybe YouTube TV, but I'm not sure. Don't get YouTube TV. It's way too fucking expensive. It's like $65 a month. It started out at $35 a month, and then they raised the price a little bit, and then they doubled the price from there. So now it's like $65. It's awful. Anyway, we're gonna move on. Oh God, why every week? Every week we're talking about some old game developer making NFTs or something. Why? Like,
I know what'll save my failing game company: a get rich quick Ponzi scheme.
so this one is Richard Garriott. which is sad because like I've seen interviews with him and he seems like a nice enough guy. But maybe that's the con man, right? Like con men, there's a reason why they are able to get money out of people. It's because they come off as nice, genuine people, right?
I mean, that's the sociopath appeal. Is the I mean, first we started off with the Ultima Online, and now we got the
Well,
Ultima NFT.
well, so Ultima Online, it's just an online, it's an MMORPG.
Old
And
school.
then they came out with Shroud of the Avatar, which was Richard Garriott's spiritual successor to Ultima Online in kind of a more modern MMO setting. And that didn't do well either and was pretty bad. And now it's free to play and Richard Garriott's not involved. But it says here, this is from massivelyoverpowered.com. It says Richard Garriott is working on a new MMORPG, and yes, it's filled with NFTs. Garriott, who is probably best known to mainstream gamers as the multimillionaire originator of Ultima Online and business the partner of Todd Porter, have announced that the new unnamed MMO is in early production under the new studio D-Meta, or is it Demeta? That's the studio name, is Demeta. And it will share the top-down isometric perspective of the original Ultima Online. I don't like that. We discussed that sometimes if you can move the camera around, it's fine. But if you can't, like with Tunic, it becomes a pain in the ass. Says funding for the game will be sourced both from traditional investment as well as an NFT land sale, while acknowledging that crypto games aren't traditionally very good games and that gamers are immensely skeptical about them. I don't like this because it says immensely, and then it puts in parentheses, and justifiably skeptical, in parentheses, skeptical about them.
If they put parentheses, I think maybe I don't know.
It's
It's not the best written article.
No.
I concur.
The duo justify the business model as a way to provide direct value to players while somehow managing to avoid pay-to-win scenarios. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. What are your thoughts on NFTs, Connor?
Obviously, that they're bad. Obviously, anyone who's getting invested in them should take a good hard look at the world around them before they start throwing their money at imaginary bullshit. Like it's fine to have in cooked ways of profit. Like if you're making a product, it's okay to get paid for it.
Yeah.
Why does it have to be an NFT though?
Why does that have to be
Because it's popular? Because it's the buzzword?
Yeah, that's
That's
basically it. Like it's
how is that not ringing like all of the emergency bells?
yeah, it's
Did someone in a business suit come by, like holding a drink, telling you that this is going to be a great idea, and then show you some slides without actually explaining what they were showing to you?
I mean, I just wish that I spend most of my days, fixing computers and online, and I still don't know what an NFT is. Because
Well,
it
you
doesn't.
see, it stands for non-fungible token.
Uh-huh. And
I know that's what you meant.
yeah, and that's the thing. Nobody knows what an NFT is. They just know it's a buzzword and that some people are making a ton of money because they have convinced some people that it's worth something. And I guess that makes it valuable. But I do know, I saw an article where somebody had bought an NFT for millions of dollars and wanted to sell it for $48 million, but was offered $3,000 for it.
Why is no one buying my JPEG?
I know, exactly. So basically, I still don't hate Richard Garriott, but yeah, I'm probably never going to buy anything he's involved in the future.
Not if it's got NFTs cooked into it.
Definitely not. I still don't think he's as bad as Peter Molyneux, but they're both
But
Way
Nathan,
past their
don't you
prime.
want to play a game about me cube? Where you've got to break me cube. Get
For
a
those
pickaxe.
For those not aware, Shroud of the Avatar is a Richard Garriott helmed MMORPG that was heavily funded by gamers by way of a 2013 Kickstarter. They had weird, quick crowdfunding stunts, frequent donation telethons, whaling packages, and an $800,000 equity crowdfunding investment round, during which the company claimed a valuation of $25 million. However, the game was mired by controversy, layoff delays, design issues, and ultimately a tiny player base. Garriott himself stepped down. The new CEO denied taking over. Portalarium shuttered its office and then abruptly folded outright and transferred Shroud of the Avatar to a newly formed indie studio. Through it all, company reps stonewalled and insulted press and dodged legally required SEC filings and accountability to seed invest investors as recently as this very year.
Remember how I mentioned that there was like red flags that I was noticing? I'd like to upgrade that to like emergency klaxons. Like, you know, when you're in a submarine and you get hit and like all the sirens, that's what should be going on in any investor, anyone with whose wallet's open right now's head.
Yeah,
Don't give this product your money.
Don't give Richard Garriott money anymore. He made some
needs
good
to
games.
learn his lesson.
He made some good games back in the day. But I don't know if he's out of touch or what. But
Out of time.
Out of time, yes. So
sorry, I can't help myself.
I don't know what this game is going to be. Hopefully it is good and they get rid of the NFT land sale thing. But we'll see what happens. It does. They have an update here. Let's read the update before we move on. It says Chris Spears, the developer behind Catnip Games, which is the outfit Portalarium transferred Shroud of the Avatar to, says that working with Todd Porter and Richard Garriott to help build a strong foundation of the new game. It says, before anyone speculates, no, I did not sell Shroud. Nothing will change with Shroud except more awareness, and Shroud development will continue as it has. I can, however, confirm that I am working with Todd and Richard to help build a strong foundation for a new game. This is actually the best thing that I've mentioned a number of times on streams that was secret, but that was consuming the bulk of my time. I can't say much except for that I'm heavily involved in Shroud, and that new games take a long time to make, especially when you do them right, and the new game will be done right, except for with the NFTs. I'll be able to share more info as Todd and Richard do more reveals, but that is on their schedule, not mine, and again, not impacting Shroud in any other way than raising awareness. Sounds like I might need to do a Friday stream after all. Do not go to their stream. Go to Reeton's Friday stream, 6 p.m. Pacific time to 9 p.m. Pacific time at twitch.tv/Reeton. So it sounds like the person that they have transferred Shroud of the Avatar over to have also is also going to be involved in this new NFT scam. So that's fun. Just all scammy all around. And don't do this. But you know what's also scammy?
Is it Meta?
It is Meta.
Just in general?
Just in general. And by the way, it's Facebook. Meta is Facebook, but Facebook has kind of a bad connotation to it. People hear Facebook, and while they spend a lot of their time on Facebook, they also don't really care that much for Facebook. So they rebranded, and their name is now Meta.
And it fixed everything. There's no problems anymore.
No problem.
Oh,
so when you're let's say you're a musician, okay, and you release a song on iTunes. Do you know how much money how much of a percentage? Let's say you're an indie developer, so you're the one who's releasing the song. It's not any big label or anything. What percentage do you get, and what percentage does Apple get?
I want to say you get 60 and then they get 30.
That's not how math works, but okay. Would get,
and then I figured there'd be another 10% for like taxes or publishers or whatever.
Yeah. But it's technically before taxes and stuff, it would be 70% for you and 30% for them. How much do you think Valve takes? I think it's
Valve.
Yeah,
Steam?
Valve. Yeah, Steam.
Uh, I feel like I had that information once upon a time ago. I imagine it's probably between 30 and 40% though.
It's about the same. It's 30%, but then there's like if you're an indie developer, they take a lower percentage until you reach a certain amount of sales, something like that. So it's around 30%. Let's just say that. Do you know how much Epic takes?
Uh, isn't Epic lower, and that was one of the reasons all the people were flocking to them?
Yeah, it's like 12%. They take 12% and you get like 88% back, which is really good. So Facebook now has their thing called Horizon Worlds, which is their VR game. And you can apparently make money by incorporating assets or digital items sold in the Meta's virtual world. Do you know how much you do? Because the thing's in front of you.
Because it's right
How
in
much?
the headline.
Because it's right in the headline. How much do you think they take?
How much do I think they take? Oh, I'd be like, 30 to 35, maybe 40 if we're highballing here. But it's
40,
Meta.
48%.
Woo! Ooh, that
Like
one stings a little bit.
almost half. And you do know, like we've spoken about it before, but you may not remember. Do you know why Apple takes 30%?
No, I do not remember why.
It is because
Why.
Steve Jobs said that is the highest amount that you can charge without them flocking to another platform.
Oh, so it's greed. I figured that would be the answer.
It is the answer, but Steve Jobs was, I don't think he was, he's obviously not as smart as like Wozniak was, but Steve Jobs was a pretty good businessman. And I think he was pretty spot on that 30%, while it is a big chunk, that's enough for you to like bite the bullet and say, fine, I'll stay on Apple because, iTunes is the biggest platform. If they took 50%, I wouldn't, or 48%, I would probably try something else because then I couldn't live off that. But 30%'s fine. But yeah, with Facebook or Meta wanting to do 48% for digital items sold, that is pretty bad.
Pretty damn steep.
Now we're gonna go on. This is from Engadget. It says, "Don't expect to make a fortune from digital sales sold on Meta's virtual world." Meta has confirmed to CNBC that it will take a total of. Oh, I guess I'm sorry, we were wrong. It's 47.5% from digital asset sales. It includes 30% through the Meta Quest store and 17.5% through the Horizon Worlds itself. So that's really scummy because they're charging you twice basically. Creators may need to charge a premium to ensure healthy income from themselves. And that's a line that you want to look at and say, yeah, that makes sense. So let's say you sell something for $10. You're only getting $5 back out of that. And so to make that money back, you're going to have to sell it for $15.
Imagine making $10 and then like it's not even your boss. It's like the person who let you set up shop there was like, yeah, I'm gonna need $3 from that.
Yeah,
Except that's actually kind of how it is.
It kind of is that way.
We're not supposed to look behind the screen. Don't look behind the screen.
Yeah. In a statement to The Verge, Meta's Horizon VP Vivek Sharma argued the company's cut was a pretty competitive rate. No, it's not. It's actually really high. Epic Games is looking way better than you right now. However, that's not necessarily true for some content. CNBC pointed out that NFT marketplace OpenSea takes 2.5% share of the transactions, and also a degree of irony when Meta blasted Apple's 30% slice of in-app purchases and said it would charge subscription to help creators keep more revenue. Meta is promising a goal-oriented bonus to virtual developers whose worlds are particularly active. Nonetheless, the rate isn't exactly pleasing to digital market or product makers. It's steeper than many other online services and may make it difficult for some creators to operate in Horizon Worlds when it might be practical elsewhere. Exactly. Some people might not like the 47.5% that you're getting charged and want to actually make more money because that's bullshit. I could understand because it says here Meta gets or Facebook gets 30% through the Quest store and then 17.5% through Horizon Worlds itself. Just cut off the 17.5% through Horizon Worlds and nobody would be caring. Nobody would be bitching. But you're
People would
double
still bitch, but it would be just as bad as everyone else.
yeah, you're double dipping at that point, and that's not cool. I don't like it. So anyway, let's talk about ads. God, this is just why are all our podcasts sad?
No, we've been saying for a long time that this was coming, and
Yeah.
here it is.
Honestly, if it's the way that I think it's going to be, it might not be that bad. But it might also be way worse than I thought it was going to be. So Microsoft is actually doing ads in game, and they've always kind of done ads in game.
If you play any sports game on a Xbox, this is nothing new. They have like achievements that are sponsored by brands.
Right. So it says Microsoft, this is from Destructoid, Microsoft reportedly working on putting in-game ads in free-to-play Xbox games. It says Microsoft may be looking to insert more in-game ads for free-to-play Xbox games. A new report indicates the company wants to let advertisers place advertisements inside free-to-play games, going live by the third quarter. Business Insider reports the new program would add more games that brands can advertise in and allow more developers to sell ad space. Their sources indicate these ads could show up as billboards in racing games, for example. And honestly, I wouldn't really care if that were it. If it's like, you know, if you're playing a racing game like Forza and they show billboards with like buy Surge, I could get behind that. That's fine. If they're doing ads in the loading screen like they do in mobile games,
Which is probably what it would be closer to.
Yeah, not really happy about that. But yeah, if like I'm playing a wrestling game and I see signs for Surge, I'm not going to get mad. And I know nobody's going to advertise Surge. That's just a joke.
I do have this. It's half stupid and half silly, but playing like a horror game and a TV turns on and it's just like, you need flex tape, and you leave the room, you go out to like from a bedroom to a living room, the TV turns on, it's the same ad. You can't run away from it.
There were I just there were times towards the end or towards the middle when Mythbusters was really famous and popular, right? And there would be really bad like ads that were put into the show and they would have to do it. So I remember one that was like they had to for like a month advertise this giant touchscreen TV that was made by Microsoft or something. And so they had to like write up their blueprints and stuff on this TV and it was just terribly shoehorned in. Or Pawn Stars, where they were sponsored by Subway. And so at the end of every episode, they'd come in and be like, "Old man, I got you a meatball sub." And they would just have a terrible skit. And if it's like that, I'll be really mad. But if it's
so what you're
billboards
saying is
and
we
stuff,
did more effort than professional like media outlets with our advertising?
yes, we did. Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, but it's okay. Yeah, so if it's, I don't know, I understand that games need to make money. And if this is a way for them to make money, as long as it's not super intrusive, I'm kind of on board with it. I remember back in 2008, the good old days. Remember when we were kids? In 2008 when Obama was running for president.
Yes, I remember 12 years ago.
It was 14 years ago.
Oh, you're right. It was 14. I'm
Yeah.
not good with my math today.
We're getting old.
Just edit that out so I'm saying the right number each time. It'll be fine.
I'll just need to get you to be like
7.
14. 14. But no, it was, they were putting Obama ads in racing games on the billboards. And I thought that was amazing. I was like, that's a good way for them to advertise. And so I don't really hate this, and I think that it could be all right. Although I do have to say, if I were playing a racing game and I saw like a MAGA or Trump 2024 sign, I'd be pretty not mad, but annoyed. I'd be like, no, not happening. Not supporting him.
Hey, Nathan.
What's up?
You better start believing in cyberpunk dystopias. You're in one.
I know we're in one. So, what do you think? Are you totally upset about this, or are you okay with it?
I mean, I don't even play I don't own an Xbox. It's not going to impact me. But if it happens and it works there, they're going to turn around and they're going to put it in PC games.
Yeah.
Then I don't know, going to have to find out how to install an ad block that runs on my PC games too. It'd probably be smarter to just have it run through the router at that point.
Pi-hole. It's called Pi-hole.
Yeah, use a Raspberry, block it from there. That would probably be what I would do.
My coworker, so it's called a Pi-hole, but you can run it on.
I'm familiar.
But you can run it not on the Raspberry Pi. Like you can run it on other things, like through your router. It's weird. I don't know why they've got to come up with another name for it, because the
Pi-hole, it's a little brand locked for sure. I do have a Raspberry Pi laying around. It wouldn't be that big of a deal.
Yeah,
but you could also probably just circumvent that entirely.
You probably could, but unfortunately, there are some things you can't do, which is play games on the PS3 or the Vita for some reason.
You never posted a link to this?
Yes, I did.
Not in news stories?
No, it's in other news stories.
It's in podcast discussions. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not reading this for the first time, everyone.
Yeah, it says digital PS3 and PS Vita games rendered unplayable after, quote, expiring.
Speaking of things we've been saying is going to be coming for a long time.
Yeah.
You don't own the games anymore. You just own a license to them.
I hate it. So this is from The Verge. It says players on the PS3 and PlayStation Vita are having trouble accessing their digital purchases after a strange expiration date suddenly appeared on certain games, as first reported by Kotaku. The problem seems to be mostly affecting classic titles, preventing users from playing Chrono Cross, Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy VI, as the games are now expired. But here's the odd part. The expiration dates are dated half a century in the past. Twitter user Christopher Foose shared an image of his Chrono Cross download, which shows that the game expired December 31st, 1969 at 7:20 p.m. He says the issue only occurred after re-downloading the game, and he's now unable to play it on PS3 and Vita. And this is from, there's a Twitter post, and it does say expires 12/31/1969, but starts 5/1/2014. So, also parental control level 5. I don't know what that means.
That PlayStation is locked down. I don't know.
It says Games Hub editor Edmund Tran similarly found he was unable to play Chrono Cross on PS3. Let me re-say that. Similarly found he was unable to play Chrono Cross on the PS3 thanks to a 52-year-old expiration date. And while Tran says he could still play the classic title on PS Vita, he wasn't able to find a listing on the Vita store, a sign that Sony may have taken it down. But if you do notice something about these games, Chrono Cross, Final Fantasy VI, Chrono Trigger, those have all gotten recent releases.
Yeah, don't play the originals. Pay us $60 to buy the remakes that lose all the spirit and soul of the originals.
I mean, I guess not. That's another game that won't run. I guess Chrono Cross won't run on the Steam Deck. Yeah.
Gabe, give me my money back.
Yeah, the new Chrono, because I wanted to play that while I was on the flight. I was like, I've never played Chrono Cross before, and it seems like a perfect
Oh,
time
it's so
to, but
good.
no. I played Chrono Trigger. But Final Fantasy VI also had a recent release for the Pixel remaster. And
Did you
Final
try that on your Steam Deck, by the way?
works
6?
fine. Works fine.
Cool.
Yeah, 100% playable. Um yeah, so it might be part of that, but I most likely there was some glitch that happened, and hopefully they'll fix it, but I'm not sure. It does say here, as outlined by various threads and posts about the problem, some players say they've tried factory resetting their consoles, subscribing and unsubscribing to PlayStation Plus, and restoring their game licenses, and none of that has worked. PlayStation has yet to acknowledge the situation, and the game company didn't immediately respond to The Verge's request for comment. There's one possible reason why this might be happening. Kotaku notes that the issue may stem from a glitch causing the PS Vita and PS3 to revert their game licenses expirations dates back to use the Unix epoch, or the arbitrary time and date set by developers to designate the beginning of the console's life. So yeah, I was thinking it might be a glitch. Even if it is a glitch, it's stoking concerns that Sony is dealing with another blow to the PS Vita and PS3 after the game company nearly closed down both stores last year. It made them harder to shop by taking away the ability to use credit cards or PayPal to make purchases. So yeah, I don't, and it's so weird that they're all 3 Square Enix games.
I wonder. My initial thought in all this is obviously like you can't do that, and I wonder if their EULA has anything that says, "Hey, we could pull a game for any reason. You can't do shit about it, but you can't sell a game and then be like, oh, nope, can't use it anymore.
Yeah, you know what
We
I
put
don't
this
like?
expiration on and it expired 50 years ago. Get fucked." You
Yeah, I
can't
don't
do that. It's not legal. Yeah, someone will take them to court if that's their plan.
they've already done that. They did that to me. And I'm really mad about it. To this day, I'm mad about it. Because remember a while back, this would have been over 10 years ago, they released
PT.
The
Sorry.
Simpsons arcade game to the PS3.
And then they lost the rights to it, or they
Yeah.
never had the rights in the first place, or something like that.
No, they had the rights to release it, but they, like oftentimes happens, they lost the license for the game. And
Should we
whoever,
renew this?
yeah,
Nah.
and so they delisted the game. And honestly, delisting is fine. I get it. You can't keep everything up on your digital stores forever. However, most of the time, like I have Deadpool on Steam, and it got delisted, and then I think it got re-added, and then I think it got delisted again. But I can still go on Steam and download Deadpool the game because I already owned that game. When they delisted the Simpsons arcade game, you can't do that. You can't download it again, which is insane to me that they don't have to give you a refund because
Yeah,
they're
and
taking the game away from you.
if they're gonna do that, just refund the money. It's not that hard.
Yeah. Well,
It
it is.
sucks, but it is a solution.
Yeah. Or renew the fucking license.
Or just renew the license. Don't be babies.
Yeah. But I mean, if they would have just delisted the games, um, at that point, I would have been fine. But this is completely different. They're not even delisting the game. You try to sign in and play it, and it's just like, nah, can't do that. But just so you know, all these games are also, well, except for Chrono Trigger, but actually, and Final Fantasy. So with Chrono Cross, should say with only Chrono Cross, all PlayStation 3s have a PlayStation 1 emulator built into them. Even the updated ones without the PS2 emulator, they all have a PS1 emulator. So if you have an original PS1 game disc, you can pop it at any PS3 and play it. Which is pretty
You can't
good.
emulate it, but you can just do it.
You can't do it from the digital game store, but if you have a physical copy, you can you can use the built-in emulator for that. You obviously can't do that with Final Fantasy VI unless you have, what is it, Final Fantasy Anthology? Was that the one that it was released on?
They made one that had a whole. I think it was Anthology. Yeah.
Yeah, and that had it had Final Fantasy VI and another game. It wasn't 5.
It was 4. I think 4 and 6.
I think because I want to say it was 1 and 2. Yeah, and I think it was either 5 and 6.
I don't think it was 5 and 6. I want to say it was 4 and 6.
Uh,
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
Final
I was
Fantasy
never a Sony kid.
Anthology. Um, Final Fantasy Anthology had is a compilation of Final Fantasy games for the Sony PlayStation. It had Final Fantasies 5 and 6. It was 3 that was never released on those. So they had Final Fantasy Origins, which was 1 and 2. And then they had Final Fantasy Anthology, which was 5 and 6. And they had one with 4 and another game. I think it was 4 and Chrono Trigger. And then 3 was never released until way later on. They had the DS version of 3 get released. But you still didn't get an official port of Final Fantasy 3, the original, until the Pixel remaster came out, I think. Something like that. So, I'm a nerd. I don't know if you noticed.
I've known you for like 10 years now. I've come to that conclusion.
Yeah. So if you have Final Fantasy Anthology, you can play Final Fantasy VI. And I don't remember what the other one was that had...
Origins.
I want to say Chrono Trigger was in one of them. But I would have to take a look and see. Anyway, what do you think about this? Do you think that we should expire games? I'm going to say probably not.
Of course not. And I think I was pretty vocal on my point on that. There are better ways to solve this problem than just being like, oh, it expired. Your purchase expired. It's not there anymore. Bastards.
I just want to say I'm good. It's Final Fantasy Chronicles has Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy 4. So you can get that for $30 on Amazon. You wanted. It's a greatest hits version, which I don't know why. Did you ever understand why people didn't like the greatest hits versions of games?
Nope. I wasn't aware that was a thing.
Yeah, people like if you're a collector of games, they don't you want the original copy. You don't want the greatest hits copy.
That
And people
sounds like stupid people problems.
Yeah, that sounds like people who don't like saving money because I loved the greatest hits because you could buy good games for like $20.
Artificial scarcity is never a good idea.
Exactly. So, that's basically the end of our podcast where Reeton went on a rant about 30-year-old games. And also feels really old that they're 30-year-old games. I want to thank you for being here, Connor.
I was all you had.
You were here, and that's what matters. And I want to thank you
I
for
painted this whole time.
Did you?
I did.
Did you finish anything?
No, I still gotta assemble it. I'm just getting all my base colors down before I put it up together.
So do you paint all the pieces separately and then put them together, or do you do like just the base and then put them together and then paint the rest?
I've been told by a lot of people that the way I do it is wrong.
Oh,
And the way that I usually do it is I will paint everything while it's still on the sprue, like just its base colors. And I won't go through the detail work. I'll just get, generic sweeps. The black shoulder pads are black. The red cloth is red, whatever. Then I'll cut it out, assemble it, and I'll do my touch-ups then. People
oh.
say when you paint on sprue, it's doing it wrong. And it's just, it's hard to hold these things. They're tiny, and I got massive hands. It's just easier to hold it that way.
I mean, if it works for you,
It's
then
working. I don't think it's wrong. I think people are just outrageous on the internet.
people tend to like with our discussion earlier with League of Legends and the toxic player base, if you didn't do something the way that they wanted you to do it, then you're wrong. And that's kind of what I always hated about that game, was there was like a meta, is what they called it. And if you wanted to try something outside of what all the pro players were doing, then you were playing it wrong.
Yeah, and I just have no interest in playing a game like that
Yeah.
whatsoever. That
Yeah.
is the wrong way to have fun.
Exactly. So anyway, we'll be back next week. I will be here next week. And then I'm gonna hand the reins off to Connor and Aroa for 3 weeks.
If Aroa's sick again, oh no. I'll have to run the show.
You'll have to run it and find, maybe we'll get, if that happens, we'll have to get Nicole or somebody to co-host with you, because I've done it.
Hello and everybody, welcome to the Reading Entertainment Podcast. I hope you're excited for an hour and a half of news stories. Our first news story.
Warhammer.
Wow, Apple. It's welcome to the Warhammer Hour. That's what I'll do.
All right, and I will see you next week. Thank you for being here. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Happy birthday, Jesus.